Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So let me ask you a very interesting question, that do you remember what your school toppers and college toppers are currently doing? Now in case you don't recall, go speak with your other friends from school and college, stalk those toppers on Google. We always imagined that our school toppers, college toppers will become multimillionaires, billionaires, this, that. They might even beat Bill Gates, Adani and whatnot. But the point is that these people might be doing okay, but not exceptionally well to the point that we thought. The point of this story is that getting mark skills is very, very different from making money skills. Now, fortunately, I work in a career path where I get to speak with a lot of millionaires. I get to work with a lot of billionaires. I get to coach entrepreneurs, content creators. So I get to learn so much about money by speaking with all these people who are making crazy amount of money. So I thought that I would shoot a video where I will condense 11 critical points that you absolutely need to start executing from today onwards in case you see yourself becoming a millionaire over time. So when I say millionaire, I mean that you are able to build a wealth of more than 8 crore rupees sitting in India. Can it be done? It absolutely can be done. You can do it and try the methods that I am telling you on this video for 1 year. I am not saying that you will make 8 crores in 1 year, but I'm simply saying that you will see a sea change in the way you think about finance, economics, psychology, money making if you just try to execute these 11 points for 1 year. Please do that and your life will change. In case it doesn't change, come back and dislike this video. But for the time being, like this video so that this type of information reaches out to more people. So let's quickly get started and I will speak about money making rules. I will speak about psychological rules. I will speak about habit building rules, and condensing all of this can prove to be a game changer in your life. So the first important point that you need to know in order to become a millionaire is that majority of the millionaires are built by doing some kind of businesses, not through jobs. Now I'm not trying to diss on jobs. I also started my career by working with a non-profit, migrated to corporate jobs, etc, etc. So I've been through that grind. But there are inherent advantages in terms of doing businesses. So let me quickly outline that. So the first critical advantage, we can understand it by using the example of TDS. So let's say that you're working at BCG Main McKinsey, or you have some great job in India and you are making 1 crore salary. But then also, even before your salary hits your own account, government takes a cut in the form of TDS, tax deducted at source. And this can range depending on your salary level, but in some cases it can go up to 25-30% also, which is a fairly high amount. Second key problem is that in majority of the jobs, you are unable to claim GST, or we don't know how to claim GST. For example, when I purchased this mic on which I am shooting this video, I paid almost 20,000 rupees for this mic, and there was a GST component of approximately 18% of 20,000 rupees, which comes out to be 3,600 rupees as GST benefits. Why was that the case? Because I am running businesses. On the flip side, if you are into a job and if one day you decide I'm going to start my YouTube channel, you go and order the same mic, you would have to pay 20,000 rupees for this mic with no GST benefits for you. So similarly, in a business, it is much easier to optimize for taxes vis-a-vis when you're doing a job. So therefore, always be in a lookout if you can start some kind of a business, because if you can start some kind of business, you will get massive tax advantages, which can add up quite aggressively. Now comes the natural question that I don't know how to start a business. It's so much hoopla. There is so much jig in terms of starting a business. Where do I start? What are some of the key basic things that I need to keep in mind? Okay. So there can be a separate video that I can do on this topic. But if I were to just help you get started on this topic, please start exposing yourself to good business ideas, organize that idea, think about those ideas. If you do these 2-3 basic points, you don't need to spend lakhs and lakhs in terms of doing your MBA. You can simply go online and avail all the knowledge that you need in order to start a business just by exposing yourself to good ideas, cataloging them and thinking about it. How to do it? So for that, you can use an app called as PDF Elements. It's a wonderful app in terms of organizing, cataloging your data, ideas, whatever you are reading online and offline. There is so much information available, and if you just learn how to catalog it wonderfully well, it can prove to be a game changer for you. For example, you can see me that I am taking a picture from this particular book. This is an idea that I liked. Now I took it back to PDF element and I was able to edit this entire piece of information online. Now I might be reading some of the online stuff from, let's say, a good article that I read on business, and I want to catalog this piece of information with the previous piece of physical data that I had pulled out from that book. So I would go and click on this particular article online and take out this snippet and add it to my previous idea. So this is called as idea cataloging. If I'm able to do that for finance finance oriented topic, then I can organize my information around finance. Similarly, if I'm trying to figure out how to start a business, if I want to collect 50 good ideas, then I can collect them really well by using PDF element. On top of that, when I'm running my business and if I'm looking to get more information on how to optimize taxes for online businesses, then I can go read 50 articles, pick out some good information from those articles, and I can create my own business idea books by using PDF elements. So this could be the absolute basic point where you can start thinking about creating your own business ideas. The core belief that you need to keep in mind right now is that starting your businesses in 2022 is fairly easy. Anyone can create a website. This is not complicated at all. The tech part of it has been solved. The only thing that you need to do is that you need to swim through the ocean of information that is available there. Train yourself to start any type of business that you want to start. So for that, use this technique of cataloging. Catalog your ideas really well and you are on your way to starting a business. Try this exercise for next 30 days. I am sure that you will be able to think about better ideas. You will be in a much better place to executing your first business. So the second important thing is slightly more behavioral in nature, and it is called as delayed gratification. So there was a study that was done in Stanford University, and there they conducted an experiment called as marshmallow experiment. So the experiment went something like this, that kids were placed in a room and the researcher came in that room and told the kid that, you know what, do you want one marshmallow right now? And then I will give you 2 marshmallows. So now the kids who said that we'll have 2 marshmallows later and they were willing to wait for 15 minutes, what did they exhibit? They exhibited something called as delayed gratification. So kids who were able to delay this gratification, it was found out later in the research that these kids, when they grew up, they did exceptionally well in life. So this delayed gratification is one thing that millionaires, billionaires definitely exhibit. They have the ability to sacrifice their present in order to build a much stronger future. So now you might have a natural response that, you know what, I'm not a kid. I can't run this marshmallow experiment. What is it that I can practice in order to become a millionaire? I might not have that inherent skill of delayed gratification in me. Well, you can learn anything with practice. So if you want to start your practice of delayed gratification as an adult, you can start with literally how you spend money. So these days, people see other people on Instagram, Facebook, taking trips, whatnot, spending money, splurging, brands, this, that. You don't need to do all that. Try to display delayed gratification there. You will automatically start respecting money more. It's fine. Let people say that you're frugal, this, that. I get so much nonsense that, Akshat, what will you do with this money, this, that. It is much better to have money that you don't have the need for, rather than having the needs and then not having the money to fulfill those needs. So be in that situation where you are consciously spending money, you are mindful about it, and you are exhibiting that delayed gratification, because if you cultivate this skill, this is something that will help you become a millionaire over time. So third is a financial tip, which is called as being contrarian with money. So what is the meaning of being contrarian with money? Okay, so let me explain by using a couple of examples. Okay, so take a look at this picture, and what you will notice is that only 3% of Indians invest in the stock market. What does that indirectly mean? It indirectly means that 97% Indians do not invest in the stock markets. And all of us know, I have made so many videos, you might have heard from so many people that there are obvious advantages when it comes to stock market investing. Because Nifty 50 in the past, even if you do simple index fund investing, that has generated a CAGR of 12.5% per year for the last 20 years. Compare it with gold, compare it with FDs, compare it with any other alternate asset class, you will see that stock market is proven, but very few people are taking positions in the stock market. Contrarian means that you have the guts to go against the crowd. So if you are taking those contrarian bets and doing things that majority of people are not doing, that is where you are likely to find more success. Now, on top of this, even within the stock markets also, people panic when there is panic-like situation. For example, COVID happens or any kind of recessionary concern happen, people will pull out their money and they will start panicking. So don't do that. So be a contrarian. There is a wonderful quote by Warren Buffett who simply says that be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. That simply means a contrarian way of investing. If you exhibit that in your life, be it in stock markets, be it in majority of the other things, your odds of finding success is going to be much, much higher. Fourth point to become a millionaire is that you must learn how to manage risk. You must not run after eliminating risk. Risk is everywhere. Even if you go across the road, there is a risk that some accident might happen. But it's not as if that you will keep sitting on home only. By that way, you will miss your entire life. So in order to achieve anything worthwhile, you have to take risk. We are taught in school system, college system, sometimes even our parents, they advise, they do it with a very good heart, but they end up suggesting that you should eliminate risk. Please don't do that. You have to take risk in order to become a millionaire. This is the simple viewpoint. If you're not willing to take calculated bets and understand how to manage risk, then you will not become a millionaire ever. So now comes the natural question that how would I learn how to manage risk? Is there some example that you can give? Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, majority of my money is into stock markets. Almost 80% of my wealth is into stock markets. My 5% of my wealth is into managing my risk. For example, if the 80% of my portfolio in the stock market does badly, then there should be a mechanism for me to hedge that risk. So I would do that by going to the bond market or having some FDs, etc., etc. So that is where I would be investing my money. Why would I be doing it? Because I am hedging my risk. This is called as calculated risk taking. So I keep on speaking that as an investor, you must be able to handle any kind of market. So that in turn means that you're preparing your portfolio for hedging. Similarly, when you're doing a job, I see so many people right now depending on just one source of income. You're not doing any hedging there. Ideally, you should have multiple income streams. But if that is taking time for you to build, no problem. At least start planning it, start organizing your ideas. That itself will give you confidence that in case something bad happens with your job tomorrow, you would know that which specific idea you might be executing right away. So having that confidence, having that game plan is very, very important, and therefore learn how to manage your financial risk, how to manage your career risk, and any type of risk that you're getting exposed to. So how do you become a better risk manager? So this brings us to the next point, and this has been beautifully encapsulated by Bruce Lee, who was a fighter, and he said that I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Now, what does he mean by this quote? So let me give you a parallel example to explain that. So New Year is coming up and many people make a resolution, bhai sahab, we are going to read like 500 books this year, or we are going to read 5 books every week, this, that. It is complete nonsense. There is no point in reading like 500 books per year. It is much better to read one really good book at least 100 times rather than having a target that I'm going to complete 500 books, 100 books, 200 books. None of that is required, because at the end of the day, whatever you internalize is more important rather than whatever information that you are capturing. So people these days are too focused on these vanity metrics. So vanity metrics simply means 500 books I'll read, or I will go to 50 cities, or I will live across 50 countries. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's about what you're absorbing out of it. Is it changing you fundamentally? Is it creating a positive impact on your life? It is 1,000 times better just to read one single book 1 year and execute most of the things that that book has said, rather than aggregating 5 million ideas in a single year and not executing even one thing out of it. So if you want to improve on anything, be it public speaking, be it writing, this, that, all you simply need to do is that start practicing in a focused manner. Do not go after quantity, just simply go after quality. So the 6th rule of becoming a millionaire can be encapsulated from this graphic. This is by James Clear, and he simply shows the power of 1% improvement every single day. That if you improve for 365 days just by 1% every single day, you will exhibit an improvement of 38%. But if you decelerate your performance by 1% every single day for a year, then you will be at a net loss of 3%. So it is all about making consistent compounding game by identifying the right type of skills that you want to improve on, doing those things in a focused manner, delaying your gratification, and understanding the power of compounding. Then comes the 7th important principle. This is called as first principles thinking, and thinking from a long-term perspective. And a beautiful story has been there, which has been captured in a Jeff Bezos' interview. So Jeff Bezos goes and speaks at multiple business schools, and business school students come to him and they ask him that we also want to start our own business. So can you talk about some consumer trends that are going to happen in the market? Because if you tell us some trends, and then we can go and start those trending businesses and make crazy amount of money. So Mr. Jeff Bezos says that forget about what business changes are going to happen in the future. Just think about things that are going to stay consistent about customers. For example, customers will never come to me and tell me that, hey, sell me products at a higher price. They are not going to come to me and tell me that deliver my products late. So all these are basic things that are going to stay consistent. So find consistency in things. It's so easy to think rather than focusing about things that are going to change in the future. So if you just figure out these basic commonsensical nonsensical things, it can prove to be a game changer for you. Now, on top of that, if you read any commentary by Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos, they were all long-term thinkers. They think not in years, they think in terms of decades. They have a vision that 10 years down the line, this is what I want Amazon to be. Mark Zuckerberg has been criticized so much that, you know what, he's revamping his company to Meta. He's taking a decade-long viewpoint on the current technology, and he feels this is where the technology space is going to revolve to. And he's willing to take so much risk by revamping his current company, which is used by almost 40% of the world. So that is the power of long-term thinking and clean thinking, which is a first principles oriented thinking. And if you can think about the future, then it will be very easy to dominate in anything that you're doing. So the next point is that you must have 12-hour work days. Now I'm going to take a lot of heat because there's so much work-life balance debate, this, that. But think about it this way, that when you are younger, you have a lot of energy. So when you are in your 20s or early 20s, when there are less obligations on you, then you should dedicate in terms of developing your skill competency. Now, this is a point that has been captured wonderfully well by Professor Scott Galloway. So he is a professor in New York University, and this is what he had to say about hard work.
Just when you think you can't take any more, that means you're about a third of the way to your limits as a human, as a species. Learning that as a young man or woman is a blessing, because what it means is you have the confidence that when things are hard, physically, emotionally, mentally, you realize, oh my God, I could take so much more and still be fine.
So his point is fairly simple, that we have massive mental capacity and mental strength. So if we can execute that, then we can work really hard, and it can prove to be extremely advantageous for us in our career. So if you're in your 20s and 30s, you must be working very hard. These are his words and not mine. Now I understand that I myself talk about work-life balance and the situation where I am currently in. I try to promote healthy living. I completely stand by this philosophy. But I feel that this is a journey towards which we should move. When you are at the start of your career, you have no other option but to work really, really hard, develop your skill set, and as you become skilled with time, you will be able to get more efficient in whatever you're doing, save that time and plow it back into creating your own work-life balance. So that is the holistic understanding that you need to have, and that is the vision with which you need to design and operate in your career. So point number 9 is that you must understand tech in order to become a future millionaire. Why is this important? Because anything that can be digitized is getting digitized. This is a quote by someone. I don't know who the actual author of this quote is. In case you know, do let me know in the comment box. But it is actually true that almost even traditional businesses are going extremely digital. Now you might have noticed that if you're going to a sabzi vendor, if you're going to have ganne ka ras, I have it almost every day, sugarcane juice. So the sugarcane juice wala is also using a lot of tech. He's using UPI and whatnot. So if you are in 2022, starting your career, if you are an arts commerce student, you will say that, yaar, hame kya karna tech se? What's the point of learning tech? I'm not an engineer. Then the problem would be that you will become outdated, because this is where the business world is evolving. That these days, even lawyers, they are expected to understand basics of technology. Same goes for CAs. If you can't understand what tech businesses are doing, then how can you guide them? Similarly, if you are an art student and if you're designing or helping design a platform like Canva, and if the tech team comes to you and if you start giving them weird recommendations that can't be implemented on a tech platform, it becomes an issue for you. When I say tech, people usually assume that I'm talking about coding. No, it's not as if that you absolutely need to learn coding, but you need to know the business side of things. I get so many queries from artists that we are trying to sell our paintings online, but we are unsuccessful in terms of selling it. Why? Because probably you're not exploring right technology channels to sell your paintings. Now these days it is getting extremely tough to sell anything online, because it is not as if that you can just simply go to customers and sell stuff. It is all about creating communities these days. So unless you're offering value to people, you're not creating your community, and it will become harder and harder to execute these type of sales. So building online community itself requires understanding of tech, how to operate Excel spreadsheet, take sign up, how to design a basic website, how to modify content on a website. All these are basic things that should be understood by everyone. From a flip side, that whatever new innovations, be it blockchain, be it artificial intelligence, all these are great money making opportunities only and only if you know the basics of these technologies. So point number 10, if you want to become a future millionaire, you must understand taxation. Now this is one aspect where I'm trying to improve a lot over the last 1 year. I have read up a lot on taxation. taxation. I have tried to understand real estate taxation. I have tried to understand digital taxation. The point is that when I go to a CA, it's not as if the CA would understand all nitty-gritties of your business. If you want to optimize your taxes, and trust me, there is so much to optimize when you're buying real estate and doing any type of expenses, that you need to really understand how taxation works. You don't need to become a CA, but at least know about taxation from whichever business you want to create in the future. Because think about it this way, that your highest expenditure will not be on your kids, it will actually be on taxes. So it makes sense to figure out ways as to how you can optimize. I'm not talking or encouraging about tax chori. All I'm simply saying is that if there are avenues for you to save taxes, then you must definitely do it. A classic case in point is that many people that I meet, they don't know what ATD deductions are, what HUF is. In some cases, you can also charge for whatever courses you are taking. So for example, if you take my course on stock market, and you can check the links in the description box, if you are taking that, then you can claim deductions on it. Similarly, if you are paying your kids school fees, then again, you can claim deductions on it. So all these are points that you must understand in order to claim tax benefits. Now, several rich people are paying close to 0% taxes. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that as to how exactly they are able to accomplish that. I will explain you that entire concept. But if you want to become rich, then you must understand taxation that impacts your income sources. Now, the final point and the most important point is that if you want to truly become a millionaire, then you must be optimistic and collaborative in your approach. Now, your brain is a very powerful element. If you say that something can't be done, then it will figure out ways to convince you that it can't be done. But if you tell your brain that something can be done, then it will tell you ways on how it can be done. Now, I'm not saying that feeding optimism will make you a millionaire, but this is where the story starts. So unless you're optimistic about life, unless you're optimistic about people, unless you can think that you can make a mark on the world through your effort, there are so many people who will just keep on criticizing other people's work. There is no benefit in terms of saying excessive negative things constantly about someone. It is not going to benefit your life. All it would do is that it would take away focus from your own growth, and it will kill your time. So without making preachy and cutting the long story short, that just be optimistic. Think about your development. Whatever you can learn from other positive people, learn it, imbibe it. If you don't like the advice coming from someone or what YouTubers are saying, don't burn your time in dealing with that, because your goal should be increase manifold your wealth, and you should be so busy improving yourself that you do not find time for negativity. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do press the like button, and I will see you soon.